morning. We're right at 8 o'clock. My Zoom needed to update. I had to reinstall something. So, let's see, is that good? Grab my notes. Let's sit up here for a second. This is movement and meditation for Friday. Let's get a little bit. Good morning, Jeannie.
Good morning.
Looks like it's just me and you.
Well, I'm sorry, people are missing out.
That's fine. We'll just do yoga together and do some meditating.
Sounds good. Thanks so much.
Is there anything that you want to, do you have any requests about stretches or any work you want to do?
Lower back is always awesome for me.
Okay.
I have a bit of a headache, so upside down stuff doesn't really, isn't great, but I can do it, so.
Okay. That's helpful. That's good to know.
Thanks. Thanks for being here, Jessica. I love your classes.
I'm so glad. All right, I'm going to mute you and then we'll just get started.
Okay.
Okay. So as I was reading and studying this morning, I was reading a conference talk by President Nelson. And this quote really stuck out to me. He said, "Examine your life meticulously and regularly." Just short and sweet. But I think that's what we do, is we take this time to really be quiet and mindful and feel our bodies and sit with our thoughts and start to get familiar with the things that are happening in our brain. And as we've been kind of focusing on energy this week and our energy body that comes in on our breath and the way we manage energy, there's a concept that I find really helpful in the way that we take care of ourselves. And I like to think of it as having like our capacity is a well, right? And we need to fill that well with energy. And so there are things that we can do that bring us more energy, that fill our well of energy. And these are well-filling practices. And they can be different for us at different times of our lives. Different things can be well-filling for different people. So, my husband loves to ride his bike, and doing a long, challenging bike ride is actually well-filling for him. It's energizing, right? It's not depleting. And it may be sitting to read a book, may be something that's really rejuvenating for us. But there's also self-care practices that are well digging. They dig our well deeper and wider so that we actually expand our capacity. And so a long bike ride for me would be more of a well digging exercise, right? It expands my capacity for energy. And so when I do something that's well filling, I actually have more space to hold what I fill that with. And so that's what I kind of want you to think about today as we're practicing. What is it that I spend my time doing that is well filling, that actually fills me up, that is nourishing? And those things are generally maybe easier for us to do. And what things are well digging that expand my capacity? And we need to be able to do both of those things. We need to be able to keep expanding our capacity to hold more. But as our well gets bigger, we need to do the practices that keep it full so it's not shallow or not running on empty. So let's go ahead and just start on our hands and knees. And then actually come to your forearms. And so knees and forearms. And just let your palms be on the floor here. And you can let your head hang, maybe rock from side to side. And we'll find some cat and cow movement here. So drop your heart, look forward, lift your bum. And then exhale, just tuck your chin. And as you tuck your chin, find some flexion through your wrists. So point your fingers up toward the ceiling. And just move with your breath there. So we'll look forward, and then we'll round and flex through your wrists. And just do that a few times. And then let your hands come down, just look forward, and we'll find some hip circles here. So we're going to try to really just keep this in the hip joint and not move our back or our pelvis too much. Bring your weight into the left and just hug your right knee into your chest as much as you can. And then bring that right knee out to the right. And then push your heel up toward the ceiling. And then bring it back to where you started. And then we'll switch directions. Push your heel toward the ceiling. And then bring your knee out to the side, toward your armpit, into your chest. And then into your chest, out to the side, heel to the ceiling, back to where you started. And then reverse, heel to the ceiling, out to the side, knee to armpit to chest. Last time, both directions, knee into your chest, out to the side, heel up, and float. Your knee down, and then reverse. Heel toward the ceiling, out to the side, in towards your armpit, and knee down. And just let yourself kind of settle there. You can push back into a child's pose. Maybe stack fists to rest your head on. And just notice the difference from one side to the other. Right, and even through our movement practice, we do this like well digging and well filling. Do some work and then rest and rejuvenate. It's a pattern that we need to follow through all our ribeyes. Bring your forearms down, knees underneath your hips, and then we'll do the left leg. Just bring that knee into your chest, out to the side, lead with your heel toward the ceiling, really engage through your bum, and then float that knee down to hover, and then switch. Feel the ceiling, out to the side, knee towards your armpit, back to where you started. Knee to chest, armpit, out to the side, heel to ceiling, float your knee down, back, out to the side, knee to chest. Last time, knee into your chest, toward your armpit, and then heel to ceiling. Knee floats down, heel up, out to the side, in toward your chest, and then pause. Just lift your elbows up off the floor and thread your right one underneath, your right arm underneath your left. And just find a twist. Bring the right side of your head to the floor. Maybe lengthen through that left arm. You can even reach it over to the right a little bit. And then unwind. Put your left hand in front of your face, use your arm strength to come up. Then we'll just switch. Put your left arm underneath your right armpit. Lengthen. Reach your right hand over toward the left. And then plant your right hand in front of your face. Push yourself up to hands and knees. And just tuck your toes and come back to sit on your feet. And here, just kind of bring your fingers to your forehead, and you can do some, and then maybe to your temples, kind of massage through your temples. And it doesn't even need to be hard. You can just push really lightly. You can go along the sides of your jaw. And then push your ears closed and pull down on your earlobes. And then out all along the rim of your ears. And then just kind of grab onto your ears. You're gonna pull your ears wide. So I'm like right at the top of the earlobe where it kind of turns cartilagey. I'm kind of bringing my fingers inside the fold of my ear and just pull your ears wide. And then open and close your jaw as big as you can. And then release that. Untuck your toes. Sit back on your untucked toes and just stretch the tops of your heels. And then drop your chin to your chest. And then rock one ear to the side, chin to chest, and do your other ear. Just back and forth there. And then just stop that movement of your head and just lightly bring your hands to massage the sides of your throat. And just massage kind of down the sides of your throat. And then take your right hand just to your right shoulder blade, and underneath it, and just kind of walk your fingers with some pressure just along the length of your shoulder. I mean, not your shoulder, your collarbone, sorry. Collarbone in the front. So right finger's under your left collarbone. And dig in and walk back and forth, and walk from the center out to the edge, and then just kind of extend your left arm out to the side. And you're just gonna kind of pat your arm the length till you get to your hands. And then when you get to your thumb, really massage your thumb. And then that webbing between your thumb and your index finger, you can kind of pinch it and go back and forth. Just kind of slide it between your finger and your thumb there. And then pause, just some stillness, pinching that place between your index finger and your thumb. And then just gently rub from your hand, just kind of brush your skin up your arm. And then release that. We'll bring our fists behind us, draw your shoulder blades together, just lift your heart to a little back bend here. Release your hips down, and we'll do that same little self-massage on the other side. So left fingers to your right collarbone, and just kind of walk your fingers underneath the edge of that right collarbone. You can rub there or walk. Gets as firm pressure as feels supportive for you. And just kind of let this, you're opening your lungs with this pressure and these acupressure points here. And then start at the center, right where your sternum and your clavicle meet, and then walk your fingers out to the edge. Once you get out to the edge of that collarbone, you can extend your right arm out to the right and just gently tap your inner arm. Just down your inner arm all the way till you get to your hand, and then do that thumb massage here. So just the base of your thumb, just that meaty part of your thumb all around your thumb, massage there. And then find that webbing skin in between your index finger and thumb, and just kind of pinch it between your fingers and your thumb, and just squish it around. And then you can hold it there, just pinch it for a little bit. And then gentle, just brushing, just like skin brushing up your arm, back up towards your heart. And then plant your fists behind you or hands on the floor. Draw your shoulder blades together, lift your hips. And let your head go back. Or just keep some engagement in the back of your neck, whatever feels okay for you. And release. We'll come back into hands and knees. And we'll make our way to downward facing dog. And just let this feel good. If you don't want your head to be too low, you can do this. But just start walking through your feet. And you can always back out. So you're kind of halfway between a plank and a downward facing dog. If really having your head low is going to exacerbate your headache. And then here, just see if you can find some little movements of your pelvis, wherever you're at. So cat and cow rocks of your pelvis, and just feel that through the backs of your legs. And then we'll step our right foot forward outside of the right hand. So you could bring your knees to the floor first. Step that right foot forward. So we're here in a lizard lunge, and I'm gonna kind of toe knee my left leg back a little bit. So hands are down inside of that right foot. Reach your heart forward. And then plant through that left hand. You can twist to your right, maybe bring your right hand to your right inner thigh. And open there, and then open your right arm up. And then exhale. Just twist and reach your fingers past your left ribs. And then open. And exhale to twist. And inhale to open. Let's do that a couple more times. Exhale. Open up and stay here. You could bend through that left knee and just stay there. You could reach back for that foot and find a quad stretch. And then release that. Just bring your hands down, tuck your back toes, step back into a plank. Find your downward facing dog today. So it can be like this, it can be like this. Pedal through your legs. And then we'll step left foot outside of right hand. You can always bring your knee down first. Lengthen, reach your heart forward. So kind of your hands on the floor, feel like you're dragging them back as you reach your heart forward. And then ground through that right hand. You can bring your left hand to your left thigh, kind of push it away. Externally rotate that right upper arm. And then inhale, reach your left arm up. And exhale to twist. Reach past those right ribs. And just move with your breath there. And then pause with that right hand up. And stay there. You could bend into your right knee. You could reach back. All of it's optional. Open your heart. And then release that. Hands down, tuck your back toes. Step back to a plank or a downward facing dog. And then we're gonna step our feet as wide as the mat and just walk your hands back towards your feet. And then turn your toes out, your heels in, and squat into your Malasana, low squat. Keep your hands on the floor, maybe rock around a little bit until you can find a good still space. And just kind of listen to your body, right? This is a fine place to be. Just working on that core strength and that range of motion in our hips, our knees, our ankles, our spine. And then straighten your legs and just come to a standing forward fold. You can parallel your feet, lengthen, and then let yourself fold any amount. So you can stay here so your head's not too low, that's totally fine. Just let it be a good stretch through the backs of your legs. And then bend into your knees, roll yourself up to standing. And we're going to step forward into warrior one. So ground through your left foot and turn your toes out just slightly. And then take a big step forward with your right foot. And then you can bend into your knee. You're gonna have to lengthen, creeping like a caterpillar, my toes to bring that right foot forward. And bring your hands to your hips. Draw that right outer hip back. Push through your left heel. Lift up through your belly. And then reach your arms high. And then with an exhale, open your heart. Actually, this is going to be our inhale here, cactus arms. And then exhale, straighten that right leg. Give yourself a hug and tuck your chin. And then inhale, exhale, just cross the other elbow on top and really tuck your chin here. Let's do one more time each side. And then open up into your cactus. Just bring your hands to your hips and then lengthen that right leg. Okay. And you may want to step that left foot forward a little bit, and we'll come down into pyramid pose, Parsvottanasana. Just come with your spine parallel to the floor. And you can kind of wiggle your hips from side to side a little bit. So draw that left hip back and then draw it forward. And just feel that stretch at the top of your hamstring, right? We're using our muscle strength to hold us here, but we're also kind of flossing through it as we move. And then you can bring your hands down, maybe onto your shin. Think about drawing your right outer hip back and your left hip forward, pushing into your heel, reaching out through your heart. Maybe hands come down, maybe all the way to the floor. Just do what feels available for you. And then you can soften into that right knee, come back up, and then straighten that right leg again. And then find a twist. Keep your right hand at your hip. Just bring your left hand outside that right thigh. And you can draw that left hand down your right leg any amount as you twist to your right. Maybe it stops at your knee. This is kind of a balance trick. Maybe it stops at your ankle. You bring it outside your foot on the floor. And then push into that back heel, lengthen out through the crown of your head. Maybe you reach your right arm up for your twisted triangle. And then unwind yourself, soften into that right knee, come up to your warrior one, and then just push into that back heel. We're just gonna take a step back to where we started. Ground for that left foot, let your toes point straight forward, and then cross your right ankle over that left knee and sit back into a figure four. And then come on up. Do the same thing on the other side. So turn those right toes out just slightly. Take a big step forward with your left foot and set yourself up for your warrior one. Maybe you have to creep forward. And reach your arms high. And then our inhale, arms into cactus. And then exhale, straighten that front leg. Give yourself a hug and tuck your chin. Kind of lengthening through your whole back body. Up the back of that left leg, all the way up your spine, and then back of your neck. Inhale, cross your elbows the other way, and exhale. Inhale, and exhale. Inhale, and exhale. Inhale yourself back to your warrior one. Bring your hands to your hips. And then draw this left outer hip back to bring that leg straight. And you might step your right foot forward about a footprint. And then lead with your heart to fold. And just come halfway down. And then you can find those little movements of your hips. Just come to a place where it feels like you're creating some freedom through your hips and your lower back. So it might not even be all the way to halfway down. It might be up a little bit. And then draw that left hip back, right hip forward, reach down through that right heel. And then you can let yourself fold. Maybe hands to your shin, maybe hands to the floor, or blocks if you have them. And breathe there. And then bend into that left knee. Just bring yourself back up. Straighten that left leg. Keep your left hand on your left hip. And then find a little twist to your right. Bring your to your left. Bring your right hand outside your left leg. And then just kind of let it slide down. Push into that back heel. Reach out through the crown of your head. And push into that left big toe wall mount as you find your twist here. Maybe your hand comes down. Just find a place where you really feel integrity through your spine and you're not crunching anything. Maybe hand comes to your foot or to the floor or a block. If you've got a block, you can have it inside or outside that left foot. Maybe reach your left arm up. And then unwind yourself. On up to your warrior one. Push weight into that back foot. Step back. Parallel your feet. Balance on that right foot. Press your left ankle over your left knee and sit back. And release. Just step up to the top of your mat. Bend your knees. I'm going to come down to seated. And just bring your legs out in front of you. You can use your hands behind you. I'm just going to windshield wiper our legs in this 90-90. So just bring one internal, one external. And just go back and forth here. And lean back on your arms as much as your hips need you to. And after you've gone a couple times, as they loosen up a little bit, you may be able to come a little more upright. Maybe bring your hands to your heart as you go back and forth. Kind of walk myself forward as you do this, but that's just kind of how it goes. And then go ahead and hold when you get to this next side. Just plant a hand behind you and reach into a twist. You even wrap. So I've got my right hand on the floor. I'm going to take my left hand and grab my right tricep and look over my right shoulder. And then other side, just go the other way, swim. I'm gonna plant my left hand behind me, swim my right arm around and grab my left tricep with my right hand. And kind of find some leverage there, pulling my hand into my tricep as I twist. And unwind. I'm gonna end with fire log pose. So I've got my left shin on the bottom, right shin on top. And just flex through your feet, both feet. If you've got space under this right knee, that's fine. You could always take a pillow or a folded blanket or a block there, so you have some place for leverage. And we're going to start by twisting to your left, so you can bring your right hand inside that right foot and push your foot into your hand and your hand into your foot as you twist. And look back, and then look over your front shoulder as you push down through those back fingertips. And then unwind your head. Unwind your body, we'll twist the other way. So left hand outside your right knee to look back over your right shoulder. And then you can look over your left shoulder. You push down through those back fingertips. And then unwind yourself there. And then we'll find a side bend over to the right. So right hand on the floor. So your left hip is the bottom hip. And then take your left arm alongside your ear. And keep that left hip grounded down. And then from here, just swing that left arm forward and come into a forward fold over those stacked shins. Collarbones broad. Gentle support through your lower belly. Breathe into your hips, your lower back. And then go ahead and come on up. Just lean back and we'll switch sides. So right shin's on the bottom, left shin on top. And my foot, my ankle stacked on my knee. My foot's kind of hanging off my knee. And it may take, a little effort to get that top knee down, or just find something to support it. It doesn't have to come all the way down. Lengthen your spine. And then bring your left hand to your left foot, right hand behind you, find your twist this way. And then go ahead and look over your front shoulder, a breath or two. And then unwind yourself. We'll twist the other way. Right hand outside that left knee, left hand behind you. And look back. And then look forward. And then unwind your head, unwind your body. And then find your side bend. So left hand to the floor. You can soften into that elbow if it feels available. You just kind of find the height that works for you. Keep that right hip grounded as you lean away from it. And then from here, swing that right arm forward, and we'll just come into a forward fold any amount. And stay active through both of your feet, especially that left foot. So kind of flex through your ankle. And feel like you're pushing your groin back as you reach your heart forward. Space in your lower back and your hips. And then go ahead and come on up. And cross your legs, bring them in front of you, just kind of shake them out. And then we'll make our way to our seat for our meditation. My bells. And set yourself up in a way that you can be comfortable. So if that's laying on your back today, that's totally fine. If you want to sit where you've got support behind your back, so you sit up against a wall or against the couch, that's also an option. Wherever you are, see if you can get yourself so that you can be comfortable for 15 or 20 minutes of sitting meditation. So your legs will stay awake, so your spine can be tall and your breath can be free. And when you get there, just close your eyes. If it might feel good, you can bring your hands to your face and start with another little self-massage, maybe some rubbing on your forehead and your temples, sides of your jaw. I just like to bring my fingers behind my ears and just firmly press into the mastoid bone there and hold there for a minute. And then you can firmly pull those fingertips down your skull to the top of your neck and then lead out the top of your neck. You can even take your thumbs and kind of hook them to that occipital ridge, the back of your skull, and kind of pull up. Just get some pressure there. Maybe knead out the back of your neck, your shoulders. Those trapezius muscles that tend to get really tight. And then see if you can just relax. Let your hands rest on your lap in a way that supports your energy today. So if you feel like you want to be more receptive, you can be palms face up. And find the mudra of bringing your finger and your thumb together, and that just kind of seals the circuit. You can take your palms face down to feel a little more grounded, not quite so exposed. So just gauge what it is that you need. We're practicing this real inquisitive discernment so that we can be really clear about what it is that we need and want that will support our well, that we can continuously expand our capacity. But if we keep doing things that are hard, right, our well will get too shallow. And the things that take effort shift for us over time. And so meditation may be a well digging experience for you. Something that takes concentrated effort to expand your capacity, and not necessarily something that's well filling. But over time, the practice, that expansion of capacity, can make it so that the sitting still with your own thoughts and your own breath can be well filling. I just want you to take a brief inventory of your time. And we do a lot of things to kind of escape from our day in the name of self-care or giving ourselves a break that may even be more energy depleting than just well draining. Scrolling through social media, rechecking our email over and over. Excessive snacking, just grabbing something because we're bored. Those things are not necessarily replenishing for our well, just draining. Even in, the effort to give ourselves a break. I want you to ask yourself what those well-filling activities are. What fills you up? Maybe it's connection with loved ones or friends. Listening to uplifting music. Spending time in nature, maybe even during certain parts of the day. Maybe mornings or evenings are particularly nourishing for you. Maybe it's none of those things I mentioned. Maybe it's something else. Just think about what those things are. And how often do you do those things? Maybe it's prayer. Maybe it's our yoga practices in the morning. And then I want you to think about those things that expand your capacity. Those well digging practices. Maybe that is the disciplined reading of scripture every day, or the yoga practices that we do in the mornings. Maybe it's sitting in meditation. Maybe it's reading things that are challenging, or planning the food that you'll eat, or making plans for your day. And think about the things that you do and the things that you would like to do. In times of stress or upheaval or transition, right, these practices, for us to maintain our sanity, for us to be able to show up in the world in a really awake, loving, useful way that we can contribute and support. The simpler our practices need to be, and the more consistent. And just give us a simple structure. So that may be really simplifying the foods that we eat in times of stress, so that we are nourished, but we don't have to stress or think too much about what it is that we're going to eat. And that can mean that we just do the same thing every day for a while. It could be abbreviating our morning meditation or prayer or study. Maybe just one verse of scripture. Maybe setting a timer so that we're praying for 10 minutes. Maybe it's just taking 5 breaths outside, no matter the weather. But when we really get specific and simple about those practices, it's really supportive and gives us an anchor as we navigate transition or stress. And so for the last few minutes of our seated time, we'll start first with expanding our capacity and working on breathing intentionally and expansively. And then we'll just let the breath nourish us. So if you can first just start by finding an inner smile. And smile behind your eyes. You'll need to relax your forehead. Relax your cheeks and your jaw. Hold a smile inside of your mouth and let that feel expansive, that upward expansive curve. Feel that in your throat, in your heart. This inner light and gladness. And let your breath come in and out of your nose. And we'll just find our Ujjayi breath, so that slight constriction in the back of your throat. And you'll inhale to a count of 1, 2, 3, 4, and pause. 2, 3, 4. Exhale with sound. 2, 3, 4, and pause. 2, 3, 4. Inhale. 2, 3, 4. Pause. 2, 3, 4. Exhale. 2, 3, 4. Pause. 2, 3, 4. And just keep with that rhythm. And take two or three more rounds of that breath, letting yourself hear it as it comes in through your nose, through your throat, expands in your lungs. And really make sure as you exhale, you're exhaling all the way, emptying out all the way. And then just let go of the effort of breathing. Just let your breath breathe itself. It'll shallow out and soften up. Let yourself just be really still. Relaxing your mind. Just relaxing your mind. And as thoughts come in, you can just label them thinking and then let them just pass without any grasping. If your minds wander, just bring it back for the last minute. Back into your body, into your breath. your hands to your heart. Bow your head. Just offer some gratitude. Open your eyes. So, slide this closer. Let's see. Let me change this. Does anyone have thoughts or questions? What do you guys think about the well-filling and well-digging practices? Can you just differentiate between those?
I loved it. It's a good way to think about it. It's another step though to really think about what's well digging for me and well filling. You know, it's really easy to come up with the surface answers. You know, well filling might be, you know, cooking, you know, creating, exercising, walking, whatever. But well digging, it sounds like to me what you're saying is expanding our capacity. For example, you know, when it comes to cooking, one of my goals during this quarantine period is to learn how to do some of the things that I've never really perfected, like making a perfect cheesecake with no cracks.
Yeah.
And that's well filling, as well as well digging, because, you know, one of the things I love is cooking for people and having them say, oh my gosh, this is the best whatever I've ever had. That fills my well, but it also expands it because you're increasing your capacity. Does that make sense? Is that your point?
Yeah, totally. Yeah. And I think there's a lot of things that are both like that.
Right.
But I think it's helpful for us to kind of think about that, because sometimes, you know, I've gone through periods of my life where I was doing things that I wanted to do, but they were all well digging kinds of things. They were all things that really stretched me, you know, and when you just keep doing that, you're going to be depleted, even if it's things that you want to do, right?
Right.
We have to take time to balance those things so that even as we expand, we can still rest and rejuvenate. I mean, that's the super blessing of having a Sabbath day. You know, I find that, and using that time as really truly resting. And what is that? What is truly resting instead of just vegging out? You know, there's also a difference there. Like, what's rejuvenating and filling me, other than just kind of, you know, existing, because we can do those things too.
Yeah.
Do you have any thoughts, Kelly?
I was thinking it along the lines of last night's practice too, that idea that you need both in life, like the wind or the stress that kind of comes in and makes you stronger. It's the kind of along those same lines with the well digging. And I think for me, I get really quickly like down the rabbit hole of I'm so stressed. But when I can kind of change the narrative around that, to think of it as well digging, or to think of it as it's just some wind, you know, here to make me stronger, or I'm learning, those, like, just changing that story that's around it. But even changing that story and taking that time requires coming to my practice, reading, you know, those well-filling routines and practices to get me out of that spiral that I so easily kind of find myself in.
Yeah. I mean, the quote that I started with today was that we have to examine our lives meticulously and regularly. That we need to be able to just look at all aspects of who we are, what we do, how we use our time. And we need to do that on a regular basis. We have to show up for that over and over again. Because if we don't, if we're not doing it with intention and awareness, then we inevitably will get out of balance.
Right.
And the thing is, like, we're the only ones that can do it. No one can do that kind of stuff for us. Like, no one can practice for us. No one can read for us. No one can meditate for us. And sometimes we are not very honest with ourselves about the things that only we can do. A lot of times we think, like, I don't know, as moms, I know a lot of times, like, only I can clean the bathroom the right way. Only I can fold the laundry the right way. But is that true? And in our lives, a lot of times we are not super honest about the things that only we can do. And the things for us to really live whole and balanced lives takes all of those little rituals that nourish us and help us have the right perspective, so that we can start to see things that are opposition or that we come up against resistance as not like something to break us down, but something to expand our capacity or make us stronger. But that's not necessarily always our instinctive reaction to it.
Right. Totally.
Often we just want to fall apart. So we have to come back to that structure of rituals and habits that kind of help us get the right perspective, meticulously and regularly.
And thinking of it as a practice that you're constantly coming back to, so that you don't beat yourself up so much that you're the only one that can clean the bathroom the right way.
Right.
Everyone's learning.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. And that's like, the things that show up for us are the path. Like, they are the thing that presents itself every day. Like, that's my life. Instead of an obstacle to overcome, or something that is acting upon us or getting in our way or keeping us from doing the things that we need to do. No, those things that show up are the things that we need to do. And that kind of helps us keep in perspective that busy mentality, that frantic, and we can always talk energetically about that too. When we start to feel that frantic, it's all this upward spinning energy. And if we can just let ourselves ground in some way, it starts to bring things into perspective. Well, thanks, ladies, for spending your
That was
morning
perfect.
with me.
Yeah, last night too. My microphone wasn't working, but thank you. It was really good.
Oh, I'm so glad. I'm glad. Well, I'm not going to teach on Monday because we're going to go camping, but I counted how many classes are on the website, and there's 50.
Wow.
So you guys can, like, there's a practice, you can just scroll through all the old classes. There's something that you can do on Monday that either you missed or.
Class all over again on Monday. It was great.
Oh, good. I'm so glad. Is your head feeling better?
It is, actually.
Okay, good. All right. Well, have a good day. See ya.
Thank you. Have a great weekend and a great trip.
Yeah, hopefully it's not too muddy. I'm sure it'll rain some, but
Yeah.
it'll be an experience and memories regardless. See ya.
Sounds good. Take